And those conversations that kind of dropped. Worked as hard as you can to get your, as I like to say, no, or get your yes, so you can move on and make yourself available for that. Also, check out a new recruitment firm or a new coach. If your current firm that you're using isn't working, add another one or ask for a different recruiter. If you've been shy in reaching out to a recruitment firm or a career coach, take advantage of this time now to refresh your job search with some new folks to help you out. Also, review your settings. I know Trish is all over this every time, and she's 100% correct. Review your settings on LinkedIn, your profile, make sure that looks just spiffy and up to date, as well as join additional networking groups. And if you're not finding one for you, start one. You might be an excellent facilitator. And Doug's smiling. I think Doug can do it. Doug's the man. So I think you should try it and see what happens. Also, you know, if you think about it, training, a 30-day certificate could be yours starting August 1st. That gives you 30 days under your belt just before Labor Day to get a brand new certification in something that's interests you or might kind of flesh out your resume and show that you're an active learner. And that's it for me.
Oh, Jana, that is awesome.
Wait, and did I miss, Jana, did you introduce who you are and what you do?
No, I just flew right into it. I just assumed everyone knew who I was.
We have lots of new people.
Okay, well, hello, new people. I'm Jana, and I'm a career counselor with Tall Trees Encouragement and Career Encouragement. I'm happy to help with your journey as you try to figure out what the best next step is going to be and what's not working. And I'm in your corner. I'd be happy to listen and advise, and we could partner together. I also work as a sales representative for Industrial Press. We're a publisher in manufacturing, best known for the iconic Machinery's Handbook, Bible to metal workers all over the world. Ooh. Thank you.
And then I just want to introduce Mike real quick. Mike Rivera just joined us. He is, here you are. I just want to be able to see you on my screen. He is a senior HR professional, and he is my business advisor. So I don't know if you have something to add later on, but I just wanted everyone to meet you in the beginning. And then take it away, Trish.
Thank you, Jane. I'm Trish McGrath. I am a career transition coach, and I'm here to share, as Jana just did, as much knowledge as I can with you folks, because I find, you know, clients come to me for three most important reasons. Either they're stuck in a job that they don't like because they don't think they have any options. They're in a prolonged transition or job search because they don't understand today's complex digital job search, just the way things are done today, or they're looking for a new direction and don't know where to start. So we are here to help you all. I know most of you guys, you should be in the manufacturing world, because that's the group we were assembling. But as you know, there's so many different roles in there, and there are many changes in the manufacturing world. So even if you love manufacturing, that's where you've been. If your role is in jeopardy or disappearing, or maybe it doesn't thrill you anymore, there may be a very similar role in manufacturing that may be a better fit. But you also don't need to stay in manufacturing. If there's something like you like your job, like if you're a marketing professional, but you're just seeing your opportunities in manufacturing in your niche disappear, maybe there's an adjacent industry that's very similar. But there are lots of jobs out there, as Jenna said. I mean, employers are begging for people to apply for their jobs. But they're saying there's a huge disconnect. There's a mismatch between the roles and the requirements, the roles that they have open, and the people that are in fact applying. So you want to always, you know, look carefully at those job descriptions and really then ask yourself, is this in fact a good job for me? Is it a pretty good fit? And then you run with it. But it's we're here to help you all, and this is a great group. I'm so glad you're here, because you do have both the recruiter perspective as well as the job coach perspective, because we're all in one big happy family here, but we do approach the job search from two different directions. So we want you guys to ask any and all questions that you have, please.
And I'll introduce myself and then we'll go through maybe like 30 seconds of introductions of all of the participants. So I'm Jane Thielen. You all probably know me from LinkedIn. I'm a recruiter. I work primarily with manufacturing companies. And I really, really want to be an advocate for people. So, you know, the one misunderstanding that I get a lot is people think that a recruiter is here to help them find a job, which we kind of are, but we're only able to help you find a job if we have a client looking for you, or we know a client that might be looking for you, whether now or down the road. So, but I'm always happy to help people with tips, or, you know, there was a young mechanical engineer I spoke to yesterday and I said, hey, there's just one thing, there was just one tiny thing on his resume, a space that was incorrect. And I told him, I said, before I send this to my client, can you please make that change? And he was very appreciative. So there's little things we can do to help out. So I'm gonna start introductions of our participants. So I'm just gonna go across my screen. And if I by chance skip you, please let me know. I'm doing the best I can with, you know, the boxes, the people in the boxes, like the Brady Bunch boxes. So Bob Grant, would you like to go first?
Sure. I've been a sales executive for over 30 years in the aerospace business, and I recently got laid off, which wasn't very comfortable, you know, as a long-term person. And so now I'm looking at options, trying to figure out. So I thought this might be a good group to take a look at. I'm a little weary of the stress of sales, and I'm looking to see if there's something else out there that I might be able to do. I've been very involved in estimating, very involved in quality, I've been proposal writing. I have excellent writing skills. So I'm just kind of interested in seeing what might be out there that's besides being the pound the pavement and knock on the door type person. So I'm just, like I said, I'm finding myself in my last few years before retirement, and just want to do something different than just having to meet my quotas. And I would appreciate, you know, anybody's advice in that regard.
Excellent.
Perfect. Well, welcome, Matt and Kona.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Ancona. I live in New London, Connecticut. I have had kind of a long career that's been split in two halves. I started in engineering, working for a manufacturing company in Bridgeport. And from there, I've worked in a few different manufacturing companies, mostly in R&D and then also in manufacturing support. But then moved into computers, and then from there moved into sales. So I've worked at a few very large companies that have retail presence. So I worked at Apple, and I worked for AT&T, and now I'm at Home Depot until I find my next manufacturing job. My last manufacturing job was pretty fascinating. I worked as a robot programmer. And I guess the interesting thing about that is that when I first started my first robot programming position, I really knew nothing about how to program successful robots. So I had a lot of learning to do, which was a lot of fun. And by the end of my time at that firm, I had helped to build 10 different robotic MIG welding machines. So not only did I have to learn about robot programming, but also about welding, which I knew nothing of when I first started. So I consider myself a lifelong learner, and even though I'm not formally educated as an engineer, I consider myself educated as an engineer.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt. Make sure, if you haven't already, connect with me on LinkedIn, everyone, if you'd like to. Doug, our founding father, Doug.
Well, I am thrilled to see the quantities showing up this morning. It's great to finally get some numbers over the into the double digits, which is really exciting. This is a great group, and I'm glad everyone is participating. I'm an industrial manufacturing professional with business development and operational expertise. I help businesses optimize profitability by obtaining greater functional efficiencies and growth through core business diversification. I'm seeking an executive level position within a manufacturing company to help bring them to the next strata. Been doing it for a while, and this group has been very helpful, and I hope everybody on here who hasn't connected through the network reaches out and does the individual hi, how are you? Because I think those are the most beneficial parts of these networking groups, and it's great to see some new faces, so I'm really thrilled.
Okay. Oh gosh, we talked earlier, Mr. Desai. How do you pronounce your first name?
Hello, it's Satej.
Satej.
Hello, all. I'm Satej from India. I've done my graduation in aerospace manufacturing. I was working for an aerospace company here back in Goa, wherein we're making components and composites for various suppliers, basically for like BAE Systems, for Airbus, for Safran. I was working nice and comfortably in quality assurance department. Got myself in non-destructive level 2 as well in ultrasonic testing. I just thought of maybe challenging myself and just coming out of the comfort zone and try to go for an MSc. So I've done myself an MSc in aerospace manufacturing from Cranfield University, UK last year, and unfortunately found myself now in COVID times, just actively looking out for jobs and trying to make myself into the aerospace domain once again. But as I'm caught in the COVID times, I thought, why not give myself a try into the ASQ exams? So I'm right now preparing for the ASQ exams for certified quality engineer, also an quality auditor, as well as supplier quality assurance professional, which basically covers up my previous experience. It's all that I thought that to utilize this time to make myself, ready for the industry and not just sit like a duck at home.
Okay.
So that's what is about me. So I'm happy to connect to all, and thanks for listening.
Thank you. And Bob,
Satej, where are you located?
Pardon me?
Where are you located?
I'm located in India, in Goa, in India right now. Yes.
Okay.
Bob Malone.
Good morning. My name is Bob Malone. I am a operations manager / sales manager. My career has taken me from the electronics field through food manufacturing. I have never really been in the manufacturing field, but talking with one of my connections from LinkedIn, it's one of the industries that I'm targeting to get into. So he suggested that I, join this call. So I took him up on that advice, and here I am. I am currently working right now. I'm doing a project. We're developing new solutions for a food company, but that is it's a short-term contract. So, kind of trying to progress from there. So glad to be with all of yous. We'll let you know that I do have a meeting at 10 that came up today. So I will be kind of dropping off at 10, but hopefully in the meantime, I can hear some good things from all of you. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Perfect. Alyssa Hamilton.
You're muted.
Hi, Alyssa Hamilton. I work at Bausch & Strobel Machine Company. I am in human resources, and I also oversee safety and payroll. I'm not actually looking for a position right now, but just looking to network with more people in manufacturing. Prior to Bausch & Strobel, I was in the mortgage industry for 3 years, and before that, I was in biotech for 17 years, all in HR, mostly Department of One each time. We are growing. We are building a new building in Brantford. Right now, we're located in North Brantford, and we will be adding positions like field service engineers that are usually mechatronic background. So that means they're electromechanical trained, and they go out to our customers all over the US and Canada to install, commission, and maintain our machinery. Our machinery fills liquid pharmaceuticals. So as an example, our machinery is filling the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine in Kalamazoo.
Yay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's exciting to be a part of that. They owned our machines before COVID, but they transitioned them over to fill the vaccine. And we also have machines working to fill the AstraZeneca vaccine and some of the other medicines, Redesmosvar, I can't pronounce that correctly, but so anyway, our machines fill liquid and powdered pharmaceuticals, but we've been very busy and very involved with fighting the pandemic. But like I said, we are growing. I don't have a lot of higher end positions right now. We are looking for skilled tool and die makers, and that's a real challenge in Connecticut right now. So I'm just looking to make some connections in manufacturing. Thank you.
We
Wonderful.
appreciate that, Alyssa, because a lot of the people here have questions. We're here to answer all the job seekers' questions, and they love getting the hiring managers and the HR perspective, because you are our target audience, right? So we appreciate your input. So thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And Maria.
Good morning. I'm an HR manager. I am in transition right now. The last couple years I have worked on contract, but my contract ended in February, so I've been looking since then. I have been in manufacturing. I've also been in other industries, but I've always had my foot in manufacturing. So I'm looking in the Chicago area. I would do remote and travel to the locations, but that's where I'm at now. I've obviously applied to a lot of jobs, had quite a few interviews, but I always feel when I don't get the job or it doesn't go to a second interview, there's a reason. That's how just to get through it all, because I do it gets very frustrating. It gets very like, why aren't they, why haven't I gone to the second interview? Or I got to the second interview, and when I ask for feedback, I don't get any. And, I understand that as being in HR, it's hard to give feedback, but it just sometimes would be helpful. So that, but I do belong to another group that I meet weekly that does help me. It keeps everybody accountable. It's like, hey, what are you doing? What's been going on? And you just be each other's support, because we're all going through the same thing, and we'll always feel the same way. But that's my story.
Oh, and that's excellent. Can I just jump in tell people I am presenting to the Russell Library Job Seeker Group on Thursday morning on interview prep. It's Conquering the Fear, Interview Prep 101, and it's on WebEx. I did in the chat, I put the WebEx registration link. It is open. Last I checked to them last night, there were 15 more spots. The Russell Library has a great program they meet every single week. It's virtual now, but they do have speakers every week on different topics. And I spoke to them in January on how to find the job opportunities, and then they've asked me to come back, and we're going to talk about the interview itself and how to prepare for it, because sometimes it can be one little nuance that you didn't think about, or one thing you could do differently. And it's like, especially because the biggest thing I find with job interviews, people's best information is in their head. It doesn't make it actually to the conversation. So a little tiny prep work up front, figuring out, okay, these are the 5 things I want to say. It just really can turn things around. So if anyone wants to register for that, it's free. I put a link in the chat.
Awesome.
Okay.
So Kevin Janko.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kevin Janko. I am a marketing leader. I have a background originally in consumer packaged goods manufacturing for Duracell batteries, which is one of the largest battery brands in the world. And then I transitioned into business to business at Terex Corporation, which is a multi-billion-dollar manufacturer of construction machinery. And I was the VP of global marketing and commercial excellence there. So basically, I specialize in helping companies to understand their customers and to build recognizable brands and strong value propositions that open doors for salespeople and help to close the sale and grow the business. So I'm looking for an opportunity to do that again at another manufacturing company. I'm based here in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. So Mr. Baldino, we must be neighbors. And looking for options anywhere in the Northeast, say Philadelphia to Boston, and happy to help any of you with your searches as well.
Awesome. Okay, and Karen Jones?
Hi, I'm Karen Jones, an HR business partner. I also do Workday implementations, been a trainer in that area. I've come out of a number of Workday implementations with organizations that are going through acquisitions. My background has been in consumer products. I've also had experience with distribution centers, not necessarily manufacturing sites, but both union and non-union distribution centers, and looking to expand the network and see what the needs are within manufacturing companies. And some of them are looking at, as a result of larger organizations, are going to Workday implementations. So that's why I joined the call.
Okay.
Now, Karen, are you in transition right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for joining us.
Karen. Cynthia?
There. Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Sis. I live in Middletown, Connecticut, and so I'm commutable to many places here in Connecticut. And I have extensive background in manufacturing and working for different manufacturing companies as a marketer and product manager. I most recently was at Assa Abloy down in New Haven and in Berlin, Connecticut. But due to a reorganization before COVID, my position was eliminated. So I've been riding out the COVID ups and downs here for a while now. I am really great at new products and figuring out what your product mix looks like and where the profitable products are and what you need to expand and what products are not so profitable and maybe you need to change or discontinue them. But the whole product analysis is one of my really skilled areas that I just dig into the numbers, and I love to come up with new products and launch them. I'm good with working with engineering, with manufacturing, with vendors. I've had a number of products that we've had made by vendors and we rebrand it. I do all the pricing and working with the purchasing and customers. And so it's just like that, working with a lot of people and pulling all the projects together and doing that sort of thing. I'm great with that.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm gonna post my stuff, my info here in the chat, but please feel free to reach out, connect. If anyone has any ideas of like, oh, you should talk to so-and-so at such and such company, that would be great. Open to startup situations. Usually I like to have things that are, you know, established so that I can evaluate how they are, but also I'm good and experienced in a lot of different areas that I can wear multiple hats. So that might make me a good fit in some startups that maybe they don't have a purchasing department, or maybe they don't have, you know, they need people to do multiple hats. So
Got it. All right. Thank you, Mike Rivera.
Hi, folks. Mike Rivera. I've held senior level roles in multi-billion-dollar global organizations, always in HR. I have worked in just about every industry, but my love and passion is manufacturing. I started working for General Motors when I was 22 years old in one of their tier 1 suppliers. I've worked in multiple industries in manufacturing. I've worked in paper and packaged goods. I've worked in the printing industry. I've worked in also food and beverage, CPG, where we were the provider of the ingredients in the chocolate and bread and pastry area. So currently, I am. I've had both global roles. I've had national roles, and my scope of responsibility has, within those large organizations, have been between 400 million and $1 billion. So currently I am a executive advisor to Jane and some other businesses. And I have a lot to say about the market. So, I mean, I look forward to this discussion. You know, if I can contribute or if I can help anyone, please reach out to me. And I have connections globally. So glad to contribute and glad to help.
Thank you, Mike. Christy? Are you there, Christy? Okay, we're gonna scooch over to Neil.
Morning, folks. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be on this. I'm a dynamic technical leader. So what I do is I help companies develop new products, basically from R&D concept right through to product launch. I also have extensive background in product lifecycle management. So once the product's out there, obviously you got to take care of it until it's taken off the market. And I have extensive experience in, you know, verification, validation, qualification of products for aerospace, automotive, commercial industries, and HVAC. I also have a good background in developing highly effective teams, cross-functional teams globally to actually meet business objectives and get product out the door. Basically, what I'm looking for is new opportunities at executive level, you know, director, VP of engineering. And I, you know, welcome input because, you know, you put your resume out there, you apply, and then you hear crickets. Even if you have contacts within that company, you know, and you feel like you're a very, very good fit. I don't want to say I'm aging myself, but I'm questioning if that's a concern. So I welcome any input I can get. So thank you to all.
Thank you. Brandon. Brandon, are you there, Brandon?
Mic is off.
All right, he might be just in listen only mode. So does anybody have any pressing questions, comments, concerns that you want to chat about? Our topics today are Janet started to talk about, you know, now is the time between Labor Day and Christmas is a, you know, super busy hiring time. And then Trish wants to talk about interview prep. So if anybody does not, oh, sorry. Okay, Christy's ready now, I think. Hold on one second. Christy, are you ready? I see you're unmuted. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I think she's coming in on the phone. It's hard. A lot of times you have to unmute from 2 different levels.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yay! Good job.
Oh, okay. So I did call in with my phone and I was muted on one of them and not the other. So, okay, good. I'm Christy Manti. I'm a program manager and applications engineer for a specialty metals company. I've been remote. Well, I've worked in the industry since 2008. I've been in my current role since 2013. I have been remote since March of 2020, which I do enjoy. However, because of the pandemic, I've been doing the role of 2 for some time. So it's really just starting to wear on me. So I'm really looking to transition to do something different. Not necessarily different. Still want to stay in manufacturing in an application engineering role, but maybe, you know, spread out work for someone else. So I'm open to any help that I can get.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so does anybody have any pressing interviewing, job search questions? If so, and you know how to raise your hand.
Then I'd love to hear from Michael as much as we can. Okay, Doug.
So quick question. So I am, as people have mentioned, things are starting to pick up, but I'm in interview mode with 3 different companies and still not getting to that final end goal of landing. And with one of them, it's literally been going on. I've discussed this with the group probably for about 2.5 months now. And the guy, we texted back and forth right before the holiday, and he said he'd get back in touch with me. And as we've discussed in this group, not getting a whole lot of feedback. So I don't want to push him too much. He says he's doing things and he'll decide at a certain point. So I guess the question to the group is, how much push do you push forward, or do you got to sit back and be patient?
I say almost cut your losses. If this is a guy who's just dragging things on forever, you can keep him like a warm lead and touch base once in a while, but do not put a lot of effort into it. So I think it might be better to put your effort into your other opportunities and pursuing new opportunities, just so, you don't want to keep putting a lot of time in if the payoff is low.
Right. And it's weird because it's three different companies, and they're all kind of stagnating. There's not a whole lot of movement forward. And one was my contact out in Chicago. I mean, they literally said I had the position, and yet I'm not getting, I was asking for clarification on benefits and things like that. And I have a meeting with one of them tomorrow just to try and get some answers. But I mean, I'm kind of like, or get off the pot. But okay, so.
Was that Nora's group?
Yeah.
Do you want me to reach out to her and just say, hey, thanks for connecting with Doug? Or?
Well, like I said, I have a meeting with the hiring manager tomorrow. I'm going to see how that goes. I mean, the biggest thing with that thing is that it's a move out to Chicago, which is a little bit overwhelming to me, but I still want to see what the package is before I either turn it down or whatnot. But no, hold off on that. But I do appreciate that. Okay.
Notice what Jane just did, but she was just saying she was just going to reach out. So what you don't want to do is call and say, hey, I'm following up with this, because that just sets the whole tone off.
Right.
But so like if Jane just followed up, for instance, just said, hey, I just want to let you know, thank you for connecting. That's like a gentle touch point. Just like when on LinkedIn, if you just quickly like or comment something someone has posted, or quickly send them an invitation to connect on LinkedIn, or just even peek at their profile. It's the soft, gentle touch instead of calling saying, what the hell, you're keeping me waiting. Of course, that's what we're thinking, right? It's like, what the hell, you're keeping me waiting.
Yeah,
this is my life here.
All right, we have hands up. Mike, did you have something you wanted to add earlier?
Well, there's a lot to say. The first thing I would say is, for those looking for work or even networking, do not take the summer off. It used to be Labor Day through Christmas. The market cycle has changed. It used to be also January was hot, and now that's shifted to March. I can explain why, but this is not a typical summer. When prior to COVID in February of 2020, there was a 50-year low on unemployment, and we haven't seen those unemployment rates for over 50 years. And then within 8 weeks, it went from a 50-year low to a 90-year high, which isn't supposed to happen. I have an economics degree. That's not supposed to happen. But what happened? A global pandemic that affected everybody. Now it's swinging back, okay? And it was definitely a buyer's market, and a lot of companies were acting badly. I've heard Neil talk about crickets. Even worse than crickets. Yes, everybody has those contacts or interviews, and then they hear nothing. I have heard countless horror stories of people getting ghosted after multiple interviews. I know of a colleague that was flown to cross country for a senior level role. Cross country for 2 days, interviewed with board of directors and CEOs and peers, and then never heard anything. So what you have to, and really it's a reflection of, in a lot of cases, really poor practices by the company, that they don't care about the candidate or applicant. So what I want to tell you, a couple things is, one, it's not you. If you get ghosted, it happens to the best of us. It's happening at the C-suite level. It's happening all the way down the chain. People are getting ghosted, but it's not you. If you don't hear back, it's not you. You have to be persistent. This summer, the market is rebounding each and every month, and you need to capitalize on that because of the pent-up demand, the fact that we're rebounding, and you have to keep in mind too. I would encourage all of you to be optimistic about your job search. You have to be persistent. Remember, it's not you if you've been rejected. Remember, it's not you if you've been ghosted. But it's a bit of a numbers game, and I can get into detail about this. I don't want to in this call. But what I will say is that the numbers are in your favor, just the pure economic numbers, because the war for talent started in mid-2000s, And the reason primarily it was driven by a population play because of the baby boomers. It was the greatest single population boom in history. And so what was happening is, and those born between 46 and 64, they're retiring. We knew that they were retiring at greater numbers than are entering the workforce. There's a lot more intricate aspects to that, but the numbers are in your favor. It's going to be really hard for the people looking for workers at all levels to hire. But the market is in your favor, and it will continue to get stronger. Do not wait for the summer, if you will, in your search. So that's what I would say. The other thing is, just to touch base on it, if people want to talk about it, there is outright biases of every kind out there.
Amen.
Whether it's age, race, there's unconscious bias, flat out discrimination. I went through 3 CEOs in 3.5 years, okay? And the last one they hired was 30 something. Yes, some companies just want to hire a 30-year-old president or CEO. Those are just companies you don't want to work for, right? So there is a lot of bias out there. You have to overcome whatever bias there is, and I'll be glad to engage in further conversation. But those are just some random thoughts off the top of my head.
Thank
and
you.
I hope they're helpful.
And Neil, you had your hand up, I think, first.
Yeah, real quick, and I know, Michael, you touched on it, that persistency, and techniques to kind of get through that, because, between ASML, Hologic, Otis, Lockheed Martin, I mean, I look at these job postings, I write a cover letter, I tailor my resume, and I feel like I'm a perfect fit. At least get a first interview. I get nothing, and I'm like, oh my God, why? And I think I have a very impactful resume that shows results. At least get a phone call. So I'd love to contact with you and connect on techniques for being persistent, because I do have contacts in each one of these companies who put my name, forward, and I hear nothing.
A lot of times the postings that you see, the job's already filled by the time it's posted.
I know that that's what I'm hearing.
Because they have the EO requirements, right?
Right, right.
And also what's been a great trend, not a great trend, but a massive trend, is internal promotions from within. And part of that is to save money.
Yeah, I know.
Because a lot of companies promoted junior people into senior roles that had no business being in those senior roles. Part of it was to save money.
Yeah.
Or combining of roles. So that's why, less than 20% of people that land actually get them through postings.
Neil, will you email me after this?
Yep. Yeah, I can do that.
Bob Malone.
Yeah, thank you. So I was kind of glad to hear the remark there about kind of when to let go and just kind of move on, because that's one of the things that I'm learning through this process. I'm very used to walking in and being a little bit more aggressive in a job search. So that's been a challenge of like when, kind of like learning the new etiquette of job searching, which brings me to my question, that Trish brought up early, that a lot of the, hiring managers are talking about a disconnect between, jobs seekers. And I guess that's my question. I'm trying to learn how to connect in this new digital world, right? How do you reach out to them? What are, if they're saying there's a disconnect, and we're all talking about being ghosted and submitting, all kinds of resumes to different companies, how do we make that connection? How do we, bridge that gap they're talking about?
It's a whole process, but it's actually pretty simple. It's simple in terms of not complicated, but it's still, there's several steps. It's all about relationship building. So the idea, like Michael just said, 20% of the jobs that are found are on job boards. I tell my clients, stay the hell off the job board if you actually want a job. Or just use the 80-20 rule, where only 20% of your time is dedicated to job boards. The best thing to do is you spend some time up front, and this will build a foundation for a successful job search. You have to identify your ideal next role. Forget what you did 30 years ago. Those jobs don't exist anymore. Employers want to know what you can do for them today and tomorrow. So you have to position yourself for your next role. So that means you have to make your resume very age neutral, and the fact that it positions you for the future. Like the last thing, you don't want to start off saying, oh, I've been doing this for 30 years. You already lost your audience. Your experience is what matters, not the number of years, plus that can hurt you. So what you want to do is you say, okay, this is the role I want to play. This is the kind of company I want to work for. Do a little research. You can do it right from the Connecticut Department of Labor website. They have a great employee database there. I think you get it through the Job Seeker Tools tab, and you can search by industry, or through your library's website. You could use Reference USA, which has a new name now, but it probably still says Reference USA on their library. And you could just say, okay, these are the 20 companies where I want to work in my area. And don't think you have to move. Don't think that way from the beginning. Like Michael said, you want to be optimistic, and there are jobs right here in Connecticut. So then do a little research on each company, and you're going to narrow your list and say you have it down to 7 or 8 companies where it's a company that you want to work. They seem to be hiring. They seem to be either stable or growing, which almost every company is hiring. And then you figure out who's the decision maker there, not HR, not the recruiter. The recruiter only wants to talk to you if they have the perfect job for you in their hand right now. They're not going to keep you in mind. They're busy as heck with all their other jobs, you know. So you have to say, okay, so this person would, like, who would be your boss, that company? It would be Jana. Okay, good. Then I'm going to try to build a relationship with Jana. You start on LinkedIn, and you can even sign a stalk people first. I look and I say, oh, I can see these are the groups she belongs to. Okay, I'm going to join some of these groups, because you always want to get yourself out there. So you actually have to be active on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not a build it and forget it type of platform. Your presence on LinkedIn has to mirror your resume. It has to be like your professional brand. You have to let people know, this is who I am, this is what I offer you, and how to help the company, you know, make it through. Because right now they're looking for someone to help them make it through this pandemic recovery into sustainable growth. And so they're looking for new ways of doing business and new skills, not the outdated stuff. Those days of doing business are gone. So you want to focus on their needs today and going forward. And you reach out to these people. And once you have like a little, somewhat of a rapport, then you can try to take the next steps, like a phone call. But the last thing you do is say, hey, you have a job for me? It's like, that's not how, you know, just think, if you first meet anyone, if they just ask you a favor right away, it's like, what are you talking about? That's really rude, you know? It's common courtesy, you know, just like you'd use in real life.
Yeah.
But there is a process. On my website is edgecareersolutions.com, and I have a link to it in the chat. I have tons of information about all the stuff on my blog. This is the kind of stuff I work with my clients all the time. It's like, how do you connect with people? There's things you can do on your LinkedIn profile to turn yourself into a recruiter magnet so they find you. There's also tons of information there on how to find what companies might be a good fit. How do you get in front of people? And it's all about relationship building, because that way you find out about the job openings before the rest of the world does. Because employers, they post it externally only when they have to. So you want to find out about their business needs early when they're reaching out, because they reach out to their connections. Hey, Bob, you know someone? You know someone for this role? They don't want to go to the outside world unless they have to, you know? So that's why it's all relationship. Like, connect with Jane and I. We each have a gazillion connections on LinkedIn. I have like 4,000. Those people will all become your second degree connection. Take a look at them. See if there's anybody I can introduce you to. Or if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take people's resumes. I'm really busy next 2 weeks. My book is going to the publisher on Thursday. So I'm flat out right now. Yeah, I'm really excited. So then there'll be another resource for you.
Right.
Which I'm going to give to all these groups like this. I'm going to make sure people get it. But I'll be glad, Neil, I can take a look at your resume and just tell you what it is that I'm seeing. Because usually it's really hard to write about ourselves. I saw this great little cartoon thing, and it said, you can't read the label when you're inside the jar.
That's it.
Oh my God, how cool is that? It's like, you're right. Because so we need to, that's what the recruiter and a career coach offers, is the outside perspective. And like Michael said, he knows the industry. So that's what you want to do, is talk to people who know the industry and say, okay, what is it? What's your impression when you take a look at my resume? But the worst thing is like somebody's been in business 30 years, they have all 30 years of stuff on there. Whoop, no way. I'm not reading a novel and I'm getting paid to read it, you know? So it's like, not for critique, I don't get paid for those, but you know what I mean? It's like, so a recruiter is definitely not gonna read 3 pages. You want it down to 2 pages. My goal, and I've written thousands and thousands of resumes, what works is about 950 words over 2 pages. That gives you nice balance of white space and content, and you need clearly marked sections so that, because recruiters are people, right? So they have different priorities. Some people really care about your longevity. Some people really care about the company you were at. Some really care about your tech skills. Other people really care about your title. So when you have everything crystal clear on your resume, they're able to see exactly who you are, what you offer them. We have to connect the dots for them. They're busy. They have a stack of resumes this high. They're not going to read between the lines and say, I think she kind of sort of has what we need. You have to come out and tell them, this is what I can do for you. And it's just when you do a little bit of prep work up front by determining for yourself, this is where I add the best value. And a lot of people who've been on this call for a while, Doug and Kevin, we've been working on that, honing in on your compelling conversation opener. In 3 sentences, tell people what you're all about. And then they'll say, really, tell me more. That sounds pretty cool. And then you can continue on and share a little bit more about yourself. But you have to do some of that work up front to clarify the value you offer. And that's all it is value. You're offering them a value, they're offering you salary in return. So you really have to be clear about that. But clear about today's value, what so what they need today. It's
Neil, did you have another question, Neil?
Yeah, just real quick, because Tricia mentioned that, your resume and so many words and the keywords. What about your resume going through these computer programs to look for keywords and getting screened? Any advice there?
Oh, definitely. And again, on my blog, I have tons of articles on this. The applicant tracking system is actually a good tool. It helps the recruiters identify the most highly qualified candidates. So basically, you need to tell the computer, I am a good match for your job. So if it's a well-written job posting, it has all the key skills and qualifications and soft skills that they're looking for. Read it thoroughly and really think about it. Say, yes, check it out. Yes, 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 that's me. Well, just the fact that you know that you have all the skills, it does nothing. You have to make sure you put it in your resume, because people don't know what you know and what you can do until you tell them. So then even like I'm visual, I'll highlight, these are the key skills that they're looking for. And yes, in fact, I've got them. This is a great match. Then make sure you literally have those words through your resume. Use them properly. Don't keyword stuff, and don't do that stupid trick of jamming a whole bunch of words in white text. Because you know what? You're not fooling anybody with that, not even the human reader, because the applicant tracking system is a machine who sees it all as data, so it doesn't matter what color your text is. And they look at it like, oh my God, what a loser. They just jammed in the word product development 75 times just to get it through the applicant tracking system. Well, they're not liking you right from the beginning because they think you're kind of underhanded, right? So don't do that. You just show in context how you have the skills you have, the qualities you bring to them, and those accomplishment bullets on your resume, those right there will show them. Use those keywords to show how you delivered on and used that qualification they're looking for. And the formatting needs to be clean. You don't want any of these templates. You don't want like a lot of flash and style. You want to let it easy, saying, here you go, this is your commercial. It's like, this is what I can do for you. So yes, you do need to pay attention to that. Some companies say that their recruiters get to look at every single resume, but when they're getting flooded with gazillion of them, believe me, they need that machine to narrow it down so that they can identify the most qualified candidates and focus on those.
However, I will say that I mentioned persistence, and there have been many people that have been rejected by the ATS system and ultimately hired into that role.
Yeah.
So,
how did the recruiter see the resume? Did they just, in fact, look at all of them, or did somebody, did a human being
we're networking in through the organization, and but unfortunately, ATS systems have not evolved, and it's just a computer, and sometimes there's knockout questions that whether it's salary or what, it could be one thing. Sometimes you get rejected as soon as you hit the submit button. So it's not the end all be all, it's a necessary evil, but persistence. Many people I know personally have gotten hired after getting rejected from the ATS and gotten hired through many means, many ways, Trish.
So how often do you reapply to that same position? Or sometimes you can't. He says you already applied. So
sometimes you can't. Probably, yeah. Usually you can't.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean
So
you
then-
can't get in other ways.
Yep. Okay.
That's when your LinkedIn networking comes in handy, and just really. And I know, Jana, do you have anything to add? You're still muted.
I turned my camera off. I'm really good. But more coffee, more coffee. And I'm saying, I'm just backing everyone up. This morning, I read a brief article that only the ATS system only sends through 25% of those resumes that are received. 75% are rejected. And to Michael's point, it can be an immediate rejection. It does take a village to get your resume past that if it's rejected. Oftentimes, recruiters are asked, like Jane will be asked by the potential employer, has this person applied with me before? So please keep track of those things because they'll be asking folks like Jane, has this person actively applied with us? And I do know that networking helps, absolutely helps you stand out, but there is a disconnect many, many times between the people that are rooting for you inside that organization and human resources. Human resources can have a tendency to turn a deaf ear to anyone insisting that someone be employed with them because they may know best. Also, there may be a physical disconnect. They may not be working together as a company, may be working remotely, and the lines of communication are poor. So Michael, to Michael's point, and of course Trish's and Jane's, keep trying and try all avenues. And if that is your dream job and you are a fit, do all that you can to make yourself visible in different types of entrances. Keep knocking if that is your top 5. Don't give up on that and chip away at it.
Anyone else have anything to add to the discussion?
Can I just make one quick comment about reapplying? Many times, so if you're already in their applicant tracking system, you're in their talent pool, you can go, if you have a password, you can go in and update your documents. It would not probably do you any good to keep applying for the same job with the right resume, that same resume, because the resume obviously didn't work. So it's like you have to, let's fine tune it. And people, you don't want to keep reinventing the wheel. Once you get a really, really strong resume, you do want to tweak it with the key words, but sometimes I find people it's like totally rewriting their resume and it gets off base, and then it's like, it's not telling any one message well, it's trying to, you cannot be all things to all people, right? That's why when you decide who you are in the best spot for the company, where you add the most value, and you run with it, and you have to be strong in your convictions. And that's when you you create a strong, compelling conversation opener where you tell them about why you're the best product development person out there. And then you make sure on LinkedIn, not only this, because 3 parts to making LinkedIn work for you, a strong profile, and it's all SEO driven. So you want those keywords and qualifications in there. And if anyone wants to, if you do sign up for my newsletter, which is going out at 2:00 today, there's a bit in there about how to maximize your skills section on LinkedIn. So you have a strong profile, but you also want a wide network, I personally connect this about everybody in the US and Canada. If someone lives 14,000 miles away, I'm not sure how we're gonna be able to help each other. So I mean, it all depends who the person is, if I accept it or not, but generally it's North America. And then you also need to be active. You show people that you are really good at your job when you're sharing articles, the latest articles for your industry, your target companies, a new technology, a new skill that you just got, if you take some online training. And right now there is some free training on LinkedIn Learning through, if you search in there, it says on-demand jobs. It's like this one link that you can get. They identified like 8 or 9 jobs that are considered very much high in demand, and they do have some free training out there, so you don't have to be a premium user. So if you cannot find that, connect with me on LinkedIn. I saw one connection come through already, and I will send you that link. So of course, LinkedIn wants your money, so they try to get you to pay for it. But you also can sign up for a free month of premium and get all the learning you can in that 1 month and then cancel.
So we're almost at the end, just a couple minutes left. So my request would be, if you'd want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you probably are already. And I'd be happy to look at anybody's resume or give them a few minutes of advice. And I know Trish and Jana are more than happy as well. And then if you found this helpful, please invite other people, or please look out for I've been posting all over LinkedIn. So all over LinkedIn. So if you'd be so kind just to share the information, or if you have friends or, you know, people from other groups that you're working with that are particularly in manufacturing, I would love for this to have a larger effect. I feel like this is a good number of people, but if we can help more people, that'd be awesome.
And a great way for us, besides promoting this group, ask Jane a question on LinkedIn in a post, rather than just a message to her. You can always message us directly, but if you ask a question to one of us, and you tag us in it, say, hey Trish, could you tell me more about how to make your resume age neutral? That right there is going to be engagement. And LinkedIn rewards engagement between connections. So if they ask, when someone posts something and they tag someone else and that person responds, and then if we have the right hashtags in there, and then we can, as Jane and I can also pop in a little bit, yeah, we'll go through this more in the next ManufacturNET, and here's the link. But
Yeah.
we'll do two things. One, a couple things. We'll be answering your question right then and there. You'll be gaining exposure on your profile, and it will help us gain a little exposure for the ManufacturNET group.
Yeah.
But send us questions all the time. We'll answer them.
And thank you all. I think I've successfully saved the file for this group. Hopefully it's in my Google Drive right now. So if you didn't get all the connections and stuff, just let me know. And if I have that file successfully saved, I will send it to you.
Yeah, I saved the chat as well, so I have people's contact info.
Good job. I thank you so much. And if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, direct them to me to make it better. I appreciate all your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Keep up the good
Thank
work,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye,
Very
folks.
very
Bye, guys.
informative.
Great to meet you guys.